Hey, Liv.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Leah.
Did y'all see my latest note about just a reminder to keep up with we need to find the readers?
Yes, I
It's
had
already got it.
contacted them right in the beginning. I heard from the two uh, elders, ruling elders, although I'll circle back around and just confirm with them. One of whom is Andrea from our
Oh,
commission. But the two pastors, or the two clergy, I never heard from back. And I even tried a second time and never heard back. So I'll try again
yeah.
with those two, which were the two from last year, Stephen Nickel and the person who's at
Casey,
yes, Casey.
great. It just occurred to me today and I just didn't want to forget. So,
Thank you for. I mean, it crossed my mind that it must be coming up because it was so long ago when I asked them.
yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hi.
afternoon.
Happy New Year.
You too, Barbara.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for taking our minutes, Barbara.
I had turned my audio off. You're welcome.
Welcome everyone, especially welcome to our new folks. We'll get started in just 1 minute.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hey.
good to see you. We'll start when it hits 4:01. Thank you all for being here on time. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Commission on Preparation for Ministry. I'm Liv McGregor Simmons. Excuse me, I'm one of the co-moderators. I'm coming onto my second year of co-moderating, and I am joined in co-moderating by Leah Benton. Um, and she and I will be alternating the moderating of our meetings throughout the year. We are so indebted to Lisa Dillard, who helps us out in so many ways. We couldn't do the work that we do without her. And we're also joined today by Jan Edmiston. We're really glad to have her. And as often as she can, she joins us. And obviously her time is short, but we're glad to have her here today. So we'll open with the devotion that Leah is going to offer. And if you will all mute while she's offering this, that just helps us with any feedback.
Thank you, Lib. It's really my honor to be starting out as co-moderator with you and with all of you in our new term with CPM. So my devotion begins with a poem that I really love for new beginnings. It's from David White, and it's called Start Close In. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in, the step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet, your own way to begin the conversation. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes an intimate, private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now. Take a small step. You can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in, the step you don't want to take. So this past week, I read for the first time Kate Murphy's excellent Lost, Hidden, Small. If y'all haven't read it, read it. It's amazing. So I was reading it in the first days of the new year, and her realization that during a particularly trying time in her ministry, that Jesus was often hidden and hard to find by people, existing as he did, usually on the margins of society with marginalized people. And the fact that Jesus talked a lot about those who were lost, lost coins, lost sheep, lost sons, and that she realized perhaps we are called to small things, lost things, hidden things, and that perhaps a ministry built on serving one person, the person right in front of you, was the thing to do. That was good and faithful ministry. And that this poem speaks to me in much the same way, that we should start with what's close in, what's right in front of us, that we shouldn't be skipping steps. So both the poem and Kate's excellent book reinforce what we do here on CPM. As liaisons, we work with one beloved child of God at a time, closely. In a group, we help clarify their calling, we support them, and we celebrate them, and we always start close in. Would you all pray with me, please? Holy God of New Year's, we bring excitement and heaviness with us this afternoon. We're excited and encouraged by the students, anxious to do your work. We are overwhelmed by the work we see around us. and we praise you for those you called to do it. Bless our time of training and student assessment tonight, and make us aware of your spirit among, around, and within us all. Amen. You're muted, Lib.
Yeah. It told me that. So thank you. I do want to say you all heard this when you logged in. We are being recorded. We are being recorded. So I just want to remind you all of that. The first item on our agenda is to approve the agenda. I do want to add one thing. Since we're going to be doing training, and we hope the whole commission will join us, but there may be some folks who are returning for their fourth or fifth time, and maybe they won't be there. So I would like to take a little bit of time for us to introduce ourselves just real quickly as we begin our work together, because we have about half of us who are here. As I just kind of look at our screen, about almost half of us are new. So we want to give everybody a sense of who everybody else is. And so just adding that right after we approve the minutes, we'll do that. So with that, are there any additions to the agenda other than that? All right. Then let us vote to approve the agenda. If you're in favor, would you please raise your hand? All right, thank you. And now we move to approving the minutes, and I want to thank Clarina for taking the minutes last month, and thanking Barbara for taking them tonight. And just to say that we rotate the taking of the minutes, and then we kind of send them to the co-moderators and Lisa, and just make sure that we've got everything correct, and we are recording too, so it's hopefully something that's doable for everybody. And we just rely on Lisa to give the assignments of who's doing the minutes and who's doing the devotions. But right now, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Just a typo. I only saw one typo, and that was the spelling of Charlotte. But I didn't mark it. And it's not in front of me. Just give me a minute. Okay. It was describing where somebody was. Let me see here. There we are.
I see it, David. I got it.
Yeah, Charlotte, Lisa
Under
Hickman.
parent treble. Yeah,
Yep, on the parent tribble.
got it.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you, David. We appreciate your sharp editorial eye. Thank you. Any other additions or corrections? All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand, please. All right, thank you. Well, let's introduce ourselves. And just real quickly, say who you are, kind of where you are, so I'll start, and then I'll call on somebody else, and you call on somebody whose face you see that you may or may not know. So I'm Lib McGregor Simmons. I'm a retired pastor, and my last church was Davidson College Presbyterian, and I retired and moved to Summerville, South Carolina, but I'm still a member of Charlotte Presbytery. And actually, in my retirement, I am working one day a week as a fill-in chaplain at the Presbyterian community here in Summerville, the village at Summerville, and I'm enjoying it very much. So let me call on Tom Robinson.
Tom Robinson, retired minister, retired in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, and originally joined Providence Presbytery because my Presbytery exec when I retired, I was Presbytery of the Peaks in Virginia, said, you need to go where you live. So I live in South Carolina, so I joined Providence. But as years went by, I found I was doing a lot of work in North Carolina, especially with Avondale, where my wife and my daughter and her family, 3 grandchildren, are all members. So recently joined this august group. I could bore you all the stories and everything. 4 churches, 35 years active ministry, and now enjoy being retired.
Would you call on somebody else, Tom? And you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. Matt Mormon.
Hey, yeah, I'm Matt Mormon. I'm the middle school and music chaplain at Trinity Episcopal School, which just ordained almost 2 years ago to this call. Yeah, and I'm thrilled to be here. So I think the next person on my list is Barbara Carr.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Carr, and I'm an active elder at Statesville Avenue Presbyterian Church here in Charlotte. And I'm just happy to see everyone tonight. Oh, I need to call on someone. Gerald Jackson.
Let me mute myself here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gerald Jackson. I am an elder at McClintock Presbyterian Church. I am glad to see everybody. I hope you're having a really prosperous new year, and let's get this thing started. And let's call on John Hart.
I'm John Hart. I retired retired pastor, retired down here 5 years ago, and this is just finished my 4th year on this committee. I am part of a retired clergy couple, my wife Becky. We serve 4 churches since 1982, and we worship at First Pres Uptown. Lisa.
I'm Lisa Dillard, and I'm an inactive elder at First Presbyterian Charlotte, as John just mentioned, and have been in this role as coordinator of COM and CPM for, I believe, 7 years and have loved it. And so I will be your email friend this year. Let me call on Ann McQuiston, who's returning to CPM, and it's good to see you, Ann.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm Ann McQuiston, and I'm an elder emerita at Covenant Presbyterian Church, and looking forward to jumping back in with the commission. I will call on Angie Edwards.
Hi, I'm Angie. I don't think you can see me. I'm having a little computer glitch, but I'm really cute. Let me just tell you that. I am glad to be part of this team. I served several years back on COM, and then after talking with Ron Nelson, and he twisted my arm just a little bit and thought I would work well on this with this team. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm an elder at Myers Park Presbyterian Church. And I will call on Sarah Scoggin.
Thank you. And hi, everyone. I went through this process not that long ago, and I recognize some of your faces. So it's so good to be back here in a different way. I just celebrated my first ordination anniversary on January 5th. So very exciting. And I am the associate pastor at Hopewell Presbyterian. And Dee.
Hi, I'm Dee Smart. Actually ordained to the validated ministry of In Christ Supporting Ministry. I'm bivocational, so my full-time job is as an orthodontist, and then ministry. Yeah, Ron has been who recruited me well. My first year has been actually quite an experience. I've enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to this year. And on my cell phone, so everybody's face doesn't come up when I'm talking, so I don't know who's next on the list. Clarina,
Okay.
are you there?
I am. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is I hope you can hear me. I'm in my car with my grandbaby. So, my name is Clarina Greer. I am an inactive elder at Bethpage United in Concord. This is my second year serving with the CPM, and I am so excited to be returning back. I've learned a lot last year, but I have a lot more to learn. So I am here for the experience, and welcome to all the new ones. And again, like D, Leah, have you gone, Leah?
I have not. Thanks, Karina.
Okay, Leah. Uh-huh.
I'm Leah Benton. I serve Meadow Lake Presbyterian Church in Huntersville as a solo pastor of a very tiny congregation. And I'm really happy to see all of your faces. And we've gotten a lot of folks. I think Sandy Hall needs to go.
Okay. I have just in October celebrated the 40th anniversary of my ordination and have served churches in Missouri, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and South Carolina. Moved to Charlotte recently and began in December as transitional pastor of South Mecklenburg Presbyterian Church. So that's my story, and I'm going to call on Jan Edmiston.
Hey, everybody. I am Jan Edmiston. I'm the general presbyter, and I do try to come to all these meetings if I possibly can. And as liaisons, you should know why. When somebody is installed or called to a church that is a parish ministry position, all of the general presbyters or executive presbyters call each other for what's called an exec check. So let's say that somebody that you're working with eventually gets called to Salem Presbytery, which is right next door. Whoever is the GP in Salem Presbytery would call me, and the questions are basically, can we interview this person? Is this person in good standing? Are there any red flags? You tell me anything else? And it's basically just to, every once in a while, rarely, but every once in a while, there's someone who is not able to be or called to a specific church. So we nip that in the bud before the PNC falls in love with them. In our presbytery, an exec check needs to happen before you interview somebody in person. And so if I don't know the candidates, I can't say anything. They're all going to be in good standing or they wouldn't be going through this process, but just to know other things about them. They're really good with kids. They're really good with older people, a great preacher, whatever it might be. So anyway, I am the GP for 64 more days. So I hope that you will love, I'm sure you will all love whoever is going to be called to be the next GP. We are hoping and praying for that PNC, and that candidate, God willing, if the way is clear, will be announced on February 21st at the next Presbytery meeting. So thanks be to God for that. I'm going to call on, let me just see, who is at St. Paul? I see St. Paul Presbyterian Church, but I don't know who that is. And you're muted. Sorry. I'm sorry, you're still muted. Un Unmute yourself so we can hear if you would. So the audio button should be on the lower left unless you're on your phone.
I think you are Sarah Hancock. Is that right?
Great.
Okay. Okay, we can't. All right. Okay, she's going out. Why don't we
Tom
I think Tom Skinner hasn't gone, and I think David Sanders hasn't gone yet. Is that right? Okay.
I'm Tom Skinner, entering my fourth year here on the CPM. Um, I'm an inactive elder at a Sharon Presbyterian Church, a frequent volunteer at Sharon Presbyterian Church, and we are hosting that Presbyterian meeting on February 21st. Come on. I don't know who to call on then. Let's see. Who do you say hadn't gone?
David Sanders, I think.
David Sanders.
Good afternoon, all. I'm David Sanders, and I'm a ruling elder, going in my last term, I hope, at Greer Heights Presbyterian Church. And also, I am but a past moderator of Charlotte Presbyterian, and the council, and the Synod of Mid-Atlantic. And I am really excited to begin my second year on this committee because I was scared last year. So I'm not so scared today, and I'm excited.
All right. Thank you. Okay, let's hope we've got Sarah. It looks like you're no longer muted.
Right. I apologize. I'm on my phone and I'm normally on my computer. But I'm Sarah Hancock, clerk of session for St. Paul Presbyterian Active Elder. This is my first year.
All right. So we're glad to have everyone, and thank you for taking this time. We'll be getting to know each other, and next month we'll be meeting in person at the Presbytery office, so that will really help us in getting to know each other. Yes. So the next item on our agenda is the report from our seminary liaison. And the vast majority of our inquirers and candidates are students at Union in Charlotte. So we try to keep a good pipeline of information flowing between the seminary and the CPM. We are really blessed because we have a Professor Elizabeth Henson Hasty, who is now our seminary liaison. She's just taking this on new. She came on mid-year as a member of the commission. She sent a written report. I don't think that went out to you all. So I'm going to just summarize it real briefly, but we have the text and we can just append it, I think, to the minutes when they go out so that everybody has that. But she mentions that the spring semester started on January the 3rd. And then there will be 4 times, one of which is happening this weekend, when the students will be on campus. And one of the things that she says is that we as CPM members, or just as members of either members of the presbytery or members of churches in the presbytery, are always welcome to be present for that, especially for the worship service. The next thing was publicized in the weekly e-news that Tamara sends out to everybody. And I hope everybody here is getting that weekly e-news from the Presbytery of Charlotte. If you're not, then please let them know, let the Presbytery office know so that you can get that. But Perrin Tribble Anderson, who will be ordained this weekend to Ministry of Word and Sacrament, and has the role at the Seminary of Advancement and Alumni Relations, is going to be leading a Lenten Planning Day with other people, professors and others from the seminary. So that takes place on the 15th of January, a week from today. And, if I were a pastor right now, I would certainly be signing up for that. I think it would be a great help. There is going to be Join the Center for Social Justice and Reconciliation for God Pierces Fear. That's the title. The 2026 African American Social Justice Preaching Series. And Valerie Bridgman, who is a fantastic preacher, is going to be preaching at speaking at Union on Monday, January 26th, at 11:30 in the morning. That would be great. And she has told us that Becky Davis and Rodney Sadler, both professors at the seminary, have just completed the civil rights travel tour. The seminaries received a Lilly grant to fund collaborative work done with Louisville Seminary and Eastern Mennonite Seminary for a program called Seminary Extended. And right now, Union is looking for a professor of worship who would be based on the Charlotte campus and a professor of New Testament who will be based in Richmond. But the teaching is shared with both campuses now. So those folks, once they are in place, will be known and valued by all of those. But here, that's the news from the seminary, and we're glad to hear it. So we thank Elizabeth for sending this to us. She's in a meeting, or I've forgotten now what it was, but it was an important commitment that she had out of town, I think, even. So next, Jan, would you give us your report, please?
It's very short. Every once in a while, we have very small churches that are interested in having a student pastor. If somebody is a candidate, they don't have to be ready to receive a call. They can be a student pastor, which means they still don't moderate the session. They still don't officiate at sacraments. There would be somebody who would mentor them, who would ordinarily also be the moderator of that church and officiate at sacraments. So if somebody that you happen to be the liaison for, or just somebody else you would suggest, Mulberry Presbyterian Church is looking for possibly a student pastor. They'd be willing to have a part-time ordained person, but they're very interested in that, and it would obviously need to be somebody who was local, probably who goes to Union. So anyway, I just share that with you. We do have a really good relationship with the seminary. I would encourage you to go visit the seminary, go to worship there on Saturdays when they're meeting on Saturdays. And we sometimes have meetings in that building as well. That's essentially all that I've got right now. But we are really fortunate. As I talk with other Presbytery mid-council people, we have more people under care than almost any other presbytery in the nation. That's why our meetings are 4 hours long. But anyway, it's a great problem to have. There are quite a few presbyteries with absolutely nobody under care, or one person under care who, God bless that person, gets a lot of attention, whether they want to or not. Anyway, so that's really the end of my report. But if you have any questions, especially if you're talking with your student and your student's saying, do you have any other opportunities you think in the presbytery, always call me, because there are quite a few churches that really cannot afford a full or an ordained person. At this moment, Aaron Alexander is at St. Paul's, so he'd be working with our friend Ms. Hancock, and Ryan Atkinson is at the Davidson Church. Anyway, let me know if you need any help. Thanks all so much for being on this commission.
Does anybody have any questions for Jan, or any comments for all of us in response to her comments?
Real quickly. I didn't, for some reason, I can't hear really well, probably due to old age. But did you say we had the most people under care?
I'm not sure if we're number one, but we're at least number one or number two.
Okay.
Our numbers change because as people get ordained, they get taken off that list. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I heard it correctly.
Anyone else? Thank you, David. Okay. You received prior to this meeting 2 documents. One is the process letter, and the other is the handbook. And so we're going to be taking a look at that during the training, but Leah has been working on updating the process letter. So take it away, Leah.
Great, thanks. So I worked with a group, all of whom I think rolled off the committee. So we realized that the process letter just hadn't been updated in a while, and really needed some updating. It was a little bit confusing. And so we'll look at it in a little bit more detail in the training, but just wanted to let you know that this is a document that is for you and your student, to outline what, you know, until you're used to it, and even after you're used to it, is kind of a complicated process. And so this document is really to serve all of you. And if you find things in it that could still be clarified, let me know, because it is somewhat of a living document, and we want to make sure that it is clear, and easy to use for everyone. And my thanks to the other people who helped me, you know, make it a little bit more clear and concise. It wasn't concise, actually it got longer, but yeah. Lib, you're muted. I try to be good about muting when I'm not talking, but then I forget. Am I correct in saying that we really need to vote today to approve this revised process letter? I'm looking to Lisa and Jan about that. What do you? There weren't really changes to it. It was really just clarifications, but I yield to Lisa and Jan if it needs to be voted on.
I don't think it needs to be voted on. I think general consensus is fine unless you just really want to be official and get that in the minutes that it was approved. It's really up to you.
Did anyone see changes that needed to be made? Because I'd love to send it to all of our people under care once it's been, finalized.
Then perhaps we should vote on it. Okay. Be sent out. All right. Okay. So you're moving from this subgroup then to approve it, are you, like Leah? Yes. I am. Okay. Thank you. Well, does anyone have any questions or want to discuss it? Or even you just ask questions about how it's used. We are going to look at it a little more closely in the training. I mean, I do want to say, I don't know if you mentioned this. If you did, I kind of missed it. That this is sent initially to anybody who's interested in becoming an inquirer. I mean, this is the students, the individual's introduction to what happens if they want to begin even exploring the possibility of ordained ministry. So it's for them as well as for us. Yeah. Yes, Tom.
I still think there was a revision about 3 years ago. In particular, we talked about changing the phrasing for the supporting pastors for our candidates to be at the interviews with annual consultations and all. The original document up till like 2022, 23 said are invited to come. And we changed consciously the word to they are encouraged to be there with the people that they are supporting. And that has worked. There have been a couple of interviews in the last couple of years where the pastors or the anyway, some responsible person in the supporting church who was there to back up the candidate. And so, so I think that's pretty important. I'd also like to say that the last time we had that revision, we were, as liaisons, invited, encouraged, and probably required almost to meet with the persons we were liaisons with to have them sign the document, to go over it, and submit that to Lisa. And so that's pretty important. And if there's a big revision, I would think that we might. I don't know how big the revisions are going to be, but I would think that we would want to be, as liaisons, responsible for, or help be responsible for getting our candidates to sign that document so they understand and are in agreement with what's going on and what's expected of them.
Liv, do you want
Yes,
me to
thank you. Mhm.
address?
Yep, go ahead, Leah.
So the last page of the document still includes a signature line for the inquirer and also for the liaison. So that's preserved. We also strengthen, just kind of in general, strengthen the importance of the relationship between the student and their home or supporting church. That language you'll see is in there more, and preserved that someone from the church is encouraged to come to the annual consultations. And I think that it would be wise, really, there it's just been clarified. There are no new policies in here. I was just trying to make the language a little bit more consistent. But it looks a little bit different, and I think it is more clear. And so I think that each liaison should, make sure their student, has the updated document and reads through it. And we may request, the committee can decide if it would make sense to request for the students and liaisons to sign it again, just to make sure everyone's super clear on what is being used. It's a good idea.
It encourages us to have lunch together somewhere.
Neat. So we'll all have good updates on our students. So yes.
That's great. So I just want to ask Lisa, after this meeting, you will send this out to all of our candidates and inquirers. Did I understand you to say that? Okay. All right. Well, we need to vote. Are there any other comments or questions? All right. All in favor of approving this updated process letter, please raise your hand. I will take that as a unanimous vote, although I cannot see a couple of people, but I assume that you raised your hand wherever you are. So thank you. All right, let's see if we have any student updates from any of the folks who are returning.
I'd like to speak to, I'm sorry.
All right, Tom Skinner.
I'd speak to Allison Tybe. I'm sorry, it's partly my fault that we haven't really been up to date on the annual consultations. I suggested to her, having seen her on this list, I contacted her about would she be interested in getting an annual consultation in February. She is unavailable. I hope there'll be room for her, Lisa, in March for an annual consultation for Allison Tybe. She's the education and family minister. Well, not minister. I'm sorry, that's the wrong title. But she's the she works with
Director, I think.
Director. Thank you. That's the word I want. Director at the Matthews Presbyterian Church in Education and Family Ministry. And anyway, I hope we have room for her in March for an annual consultation.
We do.
Thank you. I trust she'll get in touch with you then.
She's supposed to sign up on the
all right.
website, and when I send this process letter, the link is right there, so she should easily be able to sign up.
Thank you. Thank you very
much. I
much.
did notice she's been a candidate for a while and has yet to take any exam.
Yes, that needs to come up in the annual consultation. I reported on that a couple of months ago. She is worried that the CPM will hold that against her. I says, well, wait a minute, that's too strong a word. She is she's a full-time mother and very happy in the work she does. But at the same time, she worries that she's too content in that job, and she's aware that she needs to get moving on that. And so that was, I try to tell her the annual consultation is not a gotcha or a grilling. It's a chance for us to talk to her about how we can support her and support her in her period of discernment with this.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom.
Anyone else?
Yes, this is David. Like Thomas, I saw my person's name and I contacted him. And as a result, he should be signed up for February. Is that right, Lisa? Any words?
He did sign up, and I've gone back to him because he wanted to meet over Zoom. And it was the opinion of the co-moderators that he can come in person in February, which let me remind everyone, our meeting in February is in person, or he can come via Zoom in March.
Okay.
So he is currently signed up for February.
Okay. So however he works it out is fine.
Great. Thanks for contacting.
Yes. And I do want to say that I see some hands, so I'll call on you. But in response to the chat I just got, Lisa sent out both documents to everyone. So if you did not receive the handbook and the process letter, would you just email Lisa directly and ask her to please resend that to you? Okay.
I sent
All right.
two emails, one with the agenda and everything. It just had too many documents. So I sent a separate one with the process letter and the handbook or resource book. So you should have them. But yeah, let me know.
Okay. Sarah, did you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I was just wanting to know who was currently working with. This is my first time here, so I read the book. Not quite sure if this is the time to ask or not, but who was currently working with Aaron Alexander? And is that person here?
Let's see.
Let me
It's
look
Gerald
that up.
Jackson.
Gerald Jackson. That
But I
person
think
is
he's
here.
new to Gerald. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
is he
am.
new?
I am. I have not reached out to him because I had a conversation about the process and wanted to go through the training before I
Right.
reached out. So,
Yes. Yeah. So, yes. So just to answer your question too, Sarah. So some of our inquirers and candidates are getting new liaisons because their liaison rotated off of the committee.
Mhm.
So some of our returning folks are getting new people and they don't know them yet. So they haven't had this being January, they haven't had a chance to be in touch with them yet. I hope that answers your question. But Gerald will be a great liaison.
Yes. So after this meeting, for all the new liaisons, I didn't want to send you the information just blind and not knowing, because many of the new ones you should have seen on a document that I sent you that shows what group you're in, your subgroup, and the student assignments. Now, not all of you have a student yet, but many of you will. And so once this meeting is over, so sometime next week, what I'm planning to do is connect you with the previous liaison, if that makes sense. So then you can talk with the previous liaison about the student. I'm also going to encourage everyone to come in the next month before our next meeting or come early to the next meeting, either way, and look through your student's folder. That'll give you so much more information on your student. So, anyway, does that help? But next week, anyone who has a new student assignment will get that information. And you'll be connected with the previous liaison, whether they're currently on the committee or previously on the committee.
Lisa, remind us what your hours are so we know when to come in at the to the office.
Great question. I am typically there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 until about 4:30.
Okay.
The office is open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 9 until 4:30 or 5. but I can coordinate. It is good. Let me know when you'd like to come. And even if it's not on one of my days, I'll make sure someone can be there for you and show you where the files are. Good question.
Yes, thank you. And just to reiterate, since we are meeting in person next month, I mean, you could come early and take a look at the file and not make two trips. Yeah, Lisa, you had your hand raised a while ago.
I just had a very joyful student update, and that is that Shay Watts is being ordained on January 25th. He's already working as the chaplain and student life person at Union in Charlotte and really doing an amazing job. So I hope you all will be able to come to Covenant on January 25th and celebrate his ordination.
Well, we have other ordinations too. Perrin Tribble Anderson is being ordained this Sunday afternoon at Covenant. And so we celebrate that as well. And she's also at the seminary. So that's a great thing. Anyone else? One of the things that will be happening in the next few weeks is that ordination exams will be taking place. And so this is one opportunity that as liaisons we have when ordination exams are coming up, certainly to pray for those who are taking them, but also to be in touch with an encouragement if one of your students is or candidates or inquirers is taking exams. So I'll tell you who is registered so far. And I think the registration have closed, so this is who will be. Jordan Loud will be taking worship and sacraments. Lawanda McDowell will be taking biblical exegesis and theology. Andy Wirtz will be taking theology. Liz Korsig will be taking polity. Andrew Beals will be taking Bible exegesis and theology. Gwen Pearson will be taking Bible exegesis, and Emily Hall will be taking theology and worship and sacraments. And I also want to say that the denomination that has offered this year 2 occasions for kind of prepping anybody, I mean, students who are taking the exams, but really any members of CPM who want to know more about the exams themselves. And that took place on Tuesday evening, and I was able to go. And Emily Hall did attend that. It wasn't, there were only 14 people attending, which I thought was interesting. But, you know, maybe they'll do a little bit better job of publicizing it so that folks are aware of that. But I thought it was pretty helpful as far as you know, there are just a lot of technical ins and outs with taking these ordination exams. And the more one knows about those technical aspects, the better that student will do on the exam. There's no question. I mean, and so the next go around, we'll make sure that you know about it so that you can encourage your student and attend yourself if you're interested.
Liv,
All right. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is David. I have a question. In talking with Andy, he had inquired of me to learn more about the end of ordination process. I didn't really know what that looks like, so I'm asking here, or is that something I just need to call somebody offline about?
Well, are you planning to attend the training? So we
Today, yes.
we may address that question.
Okay. I was going to wait until then, but I said, well, I don't know, maybe this is the right time.
So I mean, I don't know if that'll answer what his questions are, but at least you'll know a little bit more.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, certainly. Yes, Lisa?
The process letter outlines it beautifully.
Yes.
It's very detailed.
Great. And And the process letter is that document that talks about coming into care?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's did I see 19 pages or was that the other one? It was 13, 14 pages. So it's got a lot of information. Anyone else? Okay, well, the way that we do our meetings is that we meet for this hour as a total group, and then our process is that we then divide into our various groups, 3 groups. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the training, and meet with our various inquirers or candidates, and with a break in the middle, and then come back at 7:30 where we vote on uh, sustaining what the various groups have done. So I do want to say tonight there is only one group, group 2, that is meeting with a person. So everybody will have a break. I mean, everybody except group 2 will have a break that's a little bit longer. But I do want to encourage everybody to come back at 7:30. And that's kind of important as we wind up, if you're able to do that, so that we won't be meeting from 7:30 to 8, I can promise you. But it'll be, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as we just hear the report from that group who has met with them. Because we have the number of candidates and inquirers that we do, we divide them up, but that means that we only get to really know about a third of the candidates ourselves. So this is a way that we at least get to know the names and a little bit about each of the people when we come back together as an entire committee. So it's 4:52, so that means it's almost time to start the training. So rather than logging out and logging back in, let's just take about a 5-minute break, or we'll get back together at 5 o'clock. I mean, if you want to log out, you can log back in on this same number, or you can just leave your screen active and put yourself on mute, and you can take your picture off or leave it on, however you want to do. But let's do that, and we'll come back at 5 and start the training. And we'll see you at 5.
Lib, can I just
Yes.
have you for 2 minutes?
Yes.
Just to review who's taking these exams?
Oh, okay.
That'd be
Okay.
great. Okay.
All right.
I've got Jordan Loud, I've got LaWonder, I've got Andy, I've got Liz Coursing, and then you lost me.
Andrew Beals. Bible exegesis and theology.
Okay.
Gwen Pearson, Bible exegesis.
Okay.
Emily Hall, theology and worship and sacraments. And
Okay.
the other thing that happened was that Allison Blackwell she emailed to ask how to sign up, or she about us signing her up. And I think I responded back to her that she needed to sign up through the PCUSA.
Right.
And so then she responded back to me that she had done that, but I never got an approval for her, or a request for approval. And it's all digital, so I mean, I assume that if she signs up, it just as an automatic,
Right.
it flips back over to me. But I never got that, and I did email her and say I never got it. I would suggest that you contact Alex Rogers in the office to find out. And then I never heard anything else. And, I never got anything. That's for the Bible content. And I look back through I wondered, well, maybe the Bible content doesn't
Right.
require me, but I looked back through through request, and I've gotten that before for Bible content for people.
Okay. Unless they've changed it, which they're
Yeah,
changing too much. Well, that was
yeah,
nice of you. I think you did all you could to,
yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. I hope she takes it, so is
yeah,
able to take it.
great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, Sandy, you said you served a church in South Carolina. Where were you? You're muted, so.
I was a transitional pastor for 2.5 years at Palmetto Presbyterian
Oh,
up in
really?
North Mount Pleasant.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess I know, and that's fairly recently then, right?
I just finished up at the end of May.
Okay, and I'm sorry I never met you. I lived down here in the Low Country in Somerville, And I was the parish associate right after I retired at Mount Pleasant Presbyterian.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. And now I'm
And
playing handbells over there.
that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mount Pleasant had quite a ride, I guess,
Yes. Yes. I
over that
was.
stretch of time.
I was there.
Mm,
I was there from 2019 through 2022. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You
But
have
things
the
are going
scars
this
to you have the
very,
scars to
very,
prove it, right?
very, very well now.
Mm.
Really joyful place to be.
Oh, good.
That makes quite a commute for you to, are you down there now, or do you come up to Charlotte for these meetings?
I come to Charlotte. Yes. Yes, I come to Charlotte. Yeah. We
That's
North Carolina retired pastors, we're always going to stay in North Carolina. Always. But it's not far. My son lives in Rock Hill too, so it's okay. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. For those of you who are back, yes, it's great to see you. Okay. Let me start out by saying thank you again for your willingness to be involved in this process. I think those of us who've done it, some of you are returning, having done this before, and others are continuing, and some of you are new, but I think that it's one of the most fulfilling ways that we can serve God and the church, and by walking alongside these folks who are preparing for ministry. I've actually served on this committee and moderated it in 4 presbyteries, so you can tell it's a joy of mine. So to do the work here, you need 3 documents that will tell you what to do. And one of them is the Book of Order. And that is the 2025 to 2027 Book of Order. You can get this, in paper form. It's also available online. But make sure that it's the 2025 to 2027 edition. You cannot use the ones that come before. There are always changes. The other 2 documents are those we've already referred to, that Lisa kindly sent out to you prior to this meeting, that are particular to the Presbytery of Charlotte, but also are broader than that because they incorporate what is required by the Book of Order as well. So the first thing I'd like to do as a part of this training is to simply look at the opening of what's called the resource packet, where it outlines the description of the commission, the expectations of the commission members, the descriptions of the subgroup. Yes, Lisa's holding it up, the one that looks like this. And the description of what is required of the liaison. And we'll spend a little bit of time on that section so that everybody kind of knows what the expectations are, most informally as well as formally, and what the expectations and responsibilities are. So these are the CPM. Is the Commission on Preparation for Ministry and the Commission on Ministry. We are commissions, and that means that the actions that we are taking on behalf of the presbytery, and the presbytery does not have to vote to sustain what we do. Our actions are the actions of the presbytery, but because we're a commission and not a committee. And but the Book of Order has the responsibilities are given to us by the Book of Order. And you can see what they are in this first section, that we are to provide guidance, care, and oversight for those who are Inquirers and candidates for ordained ministry. We approve the candidates as certified and ready for ordination. We evaluate and assess the inquirers and candidates' progress during their time of inquiry and candidacy, respectively. And we correspond with students' home churches, seminaries, and counseling agencies as needed. And I'll add the as needed. And I've been using the terms inquirers and candidates, assuming that everybody knows what that is. But there are basically two stages. Inquiry it is what it sounds like. It's a time of exploration. And then as a person is feeling more affirmed and kind of looks at the road ahead and feels that they want to take that next step, then they become candidates. And you'll see in the other document that is a process that takes at least 2 years. With most of our folks, it's longer than that, but at least 2 years total. So the expectations of these commission members, of all of you, is that you attend monthly meetings, and we ask that you make that a priority. You'll see in this document, it says that we meet twice a year in person, and that was our practice last year. But we, at the end of last year, voted to move to 3 for next year. And that's what we've communicated with you about when those will be. Of course, we know that not everybody's schedule. You take vacations, all those kinds of things, and we understand. But please let Lisa Dillard know if you are not going to be attending a particular meeting, and you know that ahead of time, because sometimes we do have to do a little bit of moving these subgroups around because there may only be 2 or 3 people from one subgroup in attendance, and we don't want to make it so uncomfortable for the candidate that they're so that there are not enough people for them. So we have to do that sometimes. And just come prepared, read all their paperwork, and be in communication with them. And we'll get to what you will be sent. Let me just say, you will be sent the documentation that you will need for the meeting. Lisa sends that out usually at the end of the previous week, or maybe at the very early. It depends. We're dependent on the students on getting their paperwork in on time for her to send that out ahead of time. But this is your student as well as all the other students that you will be interviewing in that particular time period. In the subgroups, as you can see, you're in subgroup 1, 2, or 3. You will continue to be in that subgroup throughout your time on this commission. And unless there's an extenuating circumstance because of numbers or something like that, that we may need to move you. But the hope is that you will get to know the candidates and inquirers who will be coming to meet always with that same subgroup. And so the person who is the liaison for an individual student, and I'm using the word student. We have a number of people who've graduated already, but I'm going to just use student, okay? That person who is the liaison for that student will lead the interview. And so that's your responsibility during that hour that we're meeting with the student. And in that subgroup, the student comes. We allow 15 minutes prior to the student coming for the committee to talk about the student, with the liaison rather leading that discussion and kind of planning how the interview will go. If they're, depending on what stage the person is in, it may be more formal or it may not. And the liaison can also share more information about the person. Since we meet with the person generally once a year, you can forget a lot. And that liaison is in constant contact, so that person can, the liaison can offer more information, just help refresh everybody's memory or give whatever insights that person can. And then also in the subgroup, as Tom mentioned in our previous segment, we are now really strongly encouraging that student to bring with them the liaison from the session and also a member of the pastoral staff of that church, if it's at all possible. We really want to encourage that continuing connection with that person's local congregation and the session there. And as you probably have experienced from your own church experience or serving on the session or moderating a session, you know that sessions have rotation schedules just like we do. And so someone who is assigned as a liaison at a time that a person is just beginning the process may not be still on the session in a few years from that time. And so it's easy. I can say this as a pastor, you know, that it's easy to have that kind of fall by the wayside and that there be no liaison for the student just because that's kind of fallen off somebody's radar screen. And so we really want to kind of keep that in front of the moderator of the session and the student themselves to make sure that communication is still and that relationship is still strong. And especially like we have several students who are serving as student pastors, so they're not at their church every week, or we have folks who are working in an education responsibility in one church and not attending regular worship and that kind of thing and seeing their folks on their session all the time. So we really want to just continue to keep those relationships vital. And let me just stop right here before we get into kind of the specifics on how to be a good liaison. Any questions, or especially with those of you who are seasoned CPM folks, you have anything to add at this point?
Liv, I would.
Okay.
When Lisa sends out paperwork, sometimes on there the candidate or student is required or expected to list references, and the liaison, us, are pretty much the expectation is that we contact those references. And during those 15 minutes that Liv talked about before the candidate comes in, is a good time to share what the references said to the subgroup before they meet. And there's really no, you don't have to submit necessarily a paperwork to Lisa about what the candidate, what the references said, but it's good information to share to the subgroup. And that's just something that I was slow to pick up on the very first time. Let's just put it that way. And I think that's what we really ought to do. The very helpful information to those.
All right. Thank you, Tom. And I really want to encourage any of you to chime in with things like that. So let's go to the liaison duties. I want to say the first thing is we are in continual prayer for the student who is assigned to us. I mean, we pray for all of our students, but we pray particularly for those for whom we have a special responsibility. And we keep in touch with them. For instance, in when they're getting ready to take their ordination exams, to just send a text or a card or an email or something to let them know that you're thinking about them and praying for them. It's a stressful time for them when they're taking those exams. And so we really want to be encouraging for them. And some of these things have already been mentioned about taking a look at their entire file if you are taking on somebody who's already been in the process, that the files are at the Presbytery office and you can come there um, to take a look at their files. One of the parts of their file that will be there that you can see is their leader-wise assessment, which is we'll come back to that, but that's the psychological assessment. They all are for anyone to once someone is a candidate, well, once somebody is an inquirer, they are to be doing their leader-wise an assessment before they can move to candidacy. So that's early in the process for most of our folks. And it may be in the file. It will be in the file, definitely will be in the file. But if you're coming in later, that would have already happened probably. So that's something that you would really want to take a look at it. And it's kind of lengthy, so to read it is important. I've mentioned getting a copy of the Book of Order. That's always a helpful thing.
Question about
Yes, Dee.
wise. Who pays for the assessment?
We do.
Okay. Because some of the
Yes.
students, they're told they're to do it, but they don't really know how the process starts. Because I thought they should have had information on who to contact. Because I know my student asked, and I knew nothing about the process.
Okay. Well,
and I didn't know what to say to him.
Okay. Well, now you do.
Now I do.
It's
Now you do.
in the process letter.
I will say, as I have said many times, like I said, I've been on this commission in 4 presbyteries, and this is the only presbytery that pays for the entire cost of it. And so if they're talking with people who are under care of other presbyteries, they may be getting some information that's different than us. And they're blessed if they are under care of Charlotte, or if they're doing the leader wise. So yes, we pay for that. And I don't know, we'll take a look at this process letter and see if it doesn't say that. I haven't. Leah, is that in there? Okay.
And typically, after their first meeting to be an inquirer, I email them and tell them that I need their transcripts. I'm going to submit their name to LeaderWise, and I will verify, but I do think I mention in there that there's no cost to them. But if I do not, I will make sure I put that in there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dee. And we mentioned this, Tom mentioned this, being in touch with the references prior to the meeting. I mean, in my case, I can't say that I always do all of the references because you know who the candidates are. Sometimes, I mean, I have some folks that are just fabulous, and so when I talk to 2 out of 3, I feel good that I've gotten them to call me back. You know what I mean? So the references are good. Okay. All right. Leah is saying that the process letter includes the fact that leader-wise will build a presbytery. So, I would say the primary role is to keep in touch. And then, I mean, if you can, and then you can report back to all of us, then that is a great thing. And to do this. Facilitating the interview is important. We will try not to have you be facilitating the interview before you have experienced someone else facilitating an interview. And one of the things that's in the resource packet is some guidance on how to lead these various interviews. I will say that Leah has agreed to take on the responsibility working with a small group. In fact, I forgot that in the new business, didn't I, Leah? I'm sorry, to get some folks to work alongside you in kind of updating, I would say, this resource packet and offering some specific guidance about questions to ask. Some of the questions that we have currently, this is not a criticism really, but some are really quite detailed that many of us who've been ordained for 40 plus years would have a hard time answering ourselves. And so we want realistic questions as well. So those will be we'll expect in the next few months that we'll have an updated resource packet that will be helpful in that regard. I want to say that Leah and I are always available to answer any questions, as is Lisa. She gets a lot of our questions, and so don't hesitate to email us. And all three of us, often many of the emails that we get are addressed to all three of us, and that's good since we do have co-moderators that we can respond together and kind of all of us know what's going on and not overlook something that came just to one of us. Again, we really want to encourage this relationship with the local churches. So with the pastoral staff there and the sessions, I would encourage the student to make those contacts and to invite them, but follow up. And if they haven't, then you can do that. Or if you want to communicate with Leah, Lisa, and I, we can also do that and back you up on that. So this would be kind of the thumbnail sketch of what's required of a liaison. Please ask questions now, or those of you who are liaisons already, tell us what's been helpful for you in doing this responsibility.
Been helpful to have at least a lunch occasionally with your to meet with your student. It's you really say a lot more than just in a text message or in an email or even a phone call. I've really enjoyed the lunches I've had with my students.
I would agree with that, and I think it's important to be intentional about interacting with your student. I just think that's important because you need to create a safe space for as much transparency as you can, so that you will be able to have open dialogue about whatever it is that you have to talk about.
Thank you for those comments. Yes, our chief role is to encourage them, but also we want to be able to have the kind of relationship where we can talk about things that are maybe even uncomfortable to talk about in a supportive and yet as a supportive and honest way.
I would find it very difficult to do just the minimum, which says, once a semester, a contact. From my standpoint, that would not give me much opportunity to build a relationship with a student. And I definitely think face to face, as much as you can, is valuable. You really get a sense of who people are when you can sit down over a cup of coffee or maybe a meal. But it's the more connection I've had with my students, the more they've opened up to me. And I found it very helpful.
I found out that my students, I found out that they're going to be good pastors because they become a pastor to me. I can tell them about my family, and it's been very interesting. And Lib, I'll just share with you, my Allison is her beloved pet is very sick, and I just, and she can talk to me about that. And anyway, this is like Libba says, is get to know them very personally, and they help us.
And I would add that I found that a mix of kind of longer, more intentional in-person meetings over coffee or a meal, quarterly or twice a year. And then I use the excuse of our monthly meetings to send a text to my students and just say, what's going on? What should I know? For the meeting. And I think that mix of very casual and more intentional has worked well for my relationships with them. You'll find what I think everyone finds kind of their rhythm, but as everyone's saying, the being intentional and mindful about checking in with them on a regular schedule.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, there is one other thing I want to add that, this kind of to follow up on Dee's question actually about the presbytery paying for the leader-wise assessments. Another thing that this presbytery offers, which is rather unique actually, is that we do have in the budget for this commission for the CPM some money for financial aid. And so last year we were able to give several students $5,000 plus and some $1,000 and that kind of thing. And so we have funds that are in the budget. We have funds from the Amy James Fund, which is specifically for African American students. And then First Presbyterian Church Presbyterian Women Organization, First Presbyterian of Concord, their Presbyterian women have in recent years also provided $2,000 for financial aid, which they allow us to allocate to the students. So in the late spring, we ask for, we put this information out and we ask for students to apply. We've simplified our process a great deal. And so it's fairly easy to apply with not much, with information about their need, but not in so much detail that it becomes something that takes up tons of time for them. And then it gives us really great joy to be able to support the students in this way. And I think, if my recall is correct, that we have, to everyone who has applied, and at least the time I've been on this for at least the last 3 years that I've been on the financial aid group, everybody has gotten something, and no one has gotten nothing. And we're grateful that for those who make their contributions to the presbytery and make this possible. But keep that in mind to talk with your students about that, especially if you know that finances are tight for them. And we take into we look at the whole picture because some are getting quite a bit of financial aid. So that's a factor as well. I mean, from sources other than us. And we will be looking for some of you to serve on a financial aid subcommittee for this year, because we have had some folks roll off, and then we want some folks who will provide continuity going into the years ahead as well. So Leah is going to be involved in that this year, and then we'll need a few more of you. So, all right. What I'd like to now do is we're going to kind of look at the stages of inquiry, candidacy, getting to final assessment and ordination and all of that kind of thing. And in this, really, the two documents that you have kind of go in tandem with each other. But let's look at page 5, if you have it, of the 4 stages of the care process. And the first is the notes here. The first is the pre-inquiry stage that's when they first talk to their pastor, talk to maybe they've already started attending seminary, and somebody says, well, you need to talk to your presbytery, that kind of thing. So the first thing you need to know is that they should have been, well, they won't come to this committee unless they have been a member of the church for at least 6 months prior to becoming an inquirer. And these forms are numbered in your document in the process letter. I mean, the process letter is very clear, but it is long, and the students need to read it in detail. And then most of their questions will be answered if they read this document. And so this is also, they would meet with their session during the pre-inquiry stage. And before they come for their first meeting with this. So they would submit these forms to Lisa Dillard, and then she will schedule them for a meeting. And at that point, then we would be in contact with one of you about serving as a liaison for this person, just from what we know, and who maybe doesn't have someone to be a liaison for, just various things that we try to be faithful in pairing you with somebody that it's going to be a fruitful relationship for both of you. Then once they come, then they come to the inquiry stage, and that's when they will meet and have that first conversation with the subgroup to which they are assigned, and that can be just very informal. Again, we hope someone from the pastoral staff and the session liaison would be there to be hearing what's being talked about and where this person is in their journey of faith and that kind of thing. Now, and so before the so while they're in the stage of inquiry, then there are lots of things they need to do. So this is kind of now back up to where the key requirements are. If they are in seminary, they need to be paying attention to the required courses that they need to be taking. And, one of the things that's required are the languages and Reformed theology. And I'm mentioning these because the languages are Hebrew and Greek. This is all on page 2, I guess, and page 2, yes. And you'll see that we also require these units of supervised ministry in a parish and a non-parish setting. And those are fairly new requirements, but you'll see that with the asterisk. And this is at the core. And you just read about the various parts of this. While they are an inquirer, they can take the first ordination exam. It's the Bible content exam. And as an inquirer, they can take that. The other ordination exams have to be taken after one is a candidate. But the inquirer, you can take the Bible content exam. Also, before you also, all active ministers, commissioned, anyway, the candidates inquirers under our care are required to take the sexual misconduct prevention training and also the anti-racism training. And these can be taken as inquirers or candidates, either one. But in financial planning workshop. So they need to keep that on their radar so that these opportunities to take these trainings do not pass them by until it's too late. Because if it is too late, that will delay them when they get to the point of ordination. Now, inquirers and candidates are required to meet with us once a year in an annual consultation. And so we have inquirers who remain inquirers. I think Tom's mentioned Allison. I have an inquirer who's been an inquirer for several years. And
well, she's a candidate, but
she's a candidate. Okay.
But
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have an inquirer who's been for several years. And although in this case, we've got to move this along with this person, but there's no time limit, 1, 2 years, that kind of thing. Yeah, like Tom has already mentioned, you can have an annual consultation and not have done much in the past year other than go to school and not have taken an ordination exam if you're a candidate, or not move to candidacy if you're an inquirer. So that is something that that's a part of the timing of the inquiry status. So let me just stop right here and ask if anybody has any questions about inquirers before they become candidates. And yes, Lisa?
Just one comment regarding the healthy boundaries training and the anti-racism training. They're good for 3 years. So it's probably not great for them to take it right out of the block, because then they're going to have to retake it probably prior to being ordained. So I would say when they become a candidate is probably good timing on that. Also want to remind y'all that you are also required to take anti-racism and healthy boundaries training. It's all online. I will give you a month or two to get situated, and then I will send you the information on taking that. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. We are so grateful to Lisa. There is no way that I think any of us who are volunteers could ever keep track of all of this without her. So we're indebted, Lisa. You're the best. So then we move to candidacy. Then the next step is moving to candidacy. And let me say that you don't have to be an inquirer for an entire year before moving to candidacy. I mean, we have had some inquirers who've, gotten into the process. They're already halfway through seminary and they've moved more quickly. But the whole process has to take at least 2 years. So they might end up being a candidate for a year and a half or 2 years after having been an inquirer for 6 months. So, so when they're ready to move to candidacy, this is on page 7. Well, first of all, this is when they really discern that God is calling them to to be a minister of word and sacrament. Some people may decide that at this point that's not what they want to do, and we want to, as we all know, God calls us uh, to various places, and to get out of this process after you've become an inquirer, there's no shame in this and at all. It is, to encourage them on that path that God is now leading them in a different direction than they perhaps thought when they first started the process. I mean, that's a part of what the process is to help you discern this. So we do. Let me also say that in both cases, the person meets with the session and gets their endorsement. They have to submit a brief statement of faith, no more than one page, it says, and a transcript, and then responses to the questions that you see on page 8. And then they come and meet in a conversation with their subgroup here, led by the liaison. And then once that has happened, then the subgroup brings to the entire commission the motion that they be sustained, that they be entered into candidacy. And then that marks their beginning as a candidate. That's when the clock starts moving on their candidacy. And we do invite them to the presbytery meeting where they make a statement and we welcome them. The presbytery does not, and we pray for them. The presbytery does not vote on their candidacy, though, as those of us who've been ordained for a while, that's different than what happened for us. So any comments about any of this or questions? Yes, Leah.
Just want to note that we've had a few candidates that this usually isn't an issue, but we have had a few candidates that don't understand that you have to be a candidate for an entire year before you can move on to the next stage. So that's an important part. And that also, again, you can't take the written ordination exams until you become a candidate. You can take Bible content, which is technically one of the ordination exams. Encourage your students to do that when they're an inquirer. And then once they move to candidacy, to take the rest of their written ordination exams.
Thank you. Appreciate that clarification. We're throwing a lot of information at you newbies, so just take it all in, take some notes, and then get in touch with us if something isn't clear. Yes. Dee, did you have
Is it still the same that candidates require approval from the CPM in order to sign up for those ordination exams? Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's a kind of an automatic thing. It just shoots it back over to us and we check the box, that. But I have had inquirers sign up and then have to say no. So they need to know that. Yeah. Thank you.
Lib, help me
Yes.
understand and Leah, the whole notion of having been a candidate for a year and then you're able to be ordained.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that, but it doesn't make sense in my mind with everything that has to be done. It just doesn't seem like you can get it done in a year. So I was just kind of curious as to know how that works.
Well, I would say it's rare that someone does it in a year. It's rare. But it's possible.
The year, sorry, David, I apologize for not being clear. It's a year minimum to be a candidate. Yes, there are many tasks that need to be done while you're a candidate, including, taking and passing all the ORD exams. But we have had a few occasionally that do finish the task in less than 12 months. It is possible, but it's the rule of this presbytery that you need to be a candidate for at least 1 year.
Okay.
John Hart, you're muted. John, you're muted.
Sorry. Obviously, as liaisons, we're to be supportive and clear in our communications with our students. But I also want to make a global point here, which this needs to be made time and time again. All of these people are college graduates. All of them are given two multi-page documents that walk through this process step by step by step. Everything is required that you have to be a candidate before you can take ordination exams. That shouldn't be a hard communication for people to say, no, it should be read page 6, you're a college graduate. I mean, obviously, the tone has to be nicer than that, but we're expecting these people to lead the Church of Jesus Christ, and if they can't read a form or take the time to read a form thoughtfully, I find that always a very disappointing experience. But we do want to encourage them as well.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Gerald.
My question is, are there requirements for these candidates and inquirers that are not listed here on the document?
I don't think we're aware of any. Though, if we can always add some.
If you find something, let us know. The process letter, which is what Liv's going through now, is designed to be clear and thorough and actually pretty repetitive, in case students are only looking at the section that applies to them. So you'll see some of the same things over and over again, so that if someone looks just at the candidacy part, they have all the information, even if they can't remember what was in the inquirer or the pre-inquirer parts. So it really should all be there. To John Hart's point, that there should, really be able to read the whole document, because there are some things like the key requirements, that, for example, actually, I think they are all repeated. Like they required anti-racism training. I'm not sure that that is listed under candidacy, for example. And so they are responsible for the whole document. But yeah, everything should be there. To my knowledge, there are no secret items that are not included in the document. But if you find
Not so
any,
much worried about.
yeah,
I'm not so
let
much
me know.
worried about. Yeah, I'm not so much worried about them. I'm more worried about me.
No, everything should be here, and there's some different levels of detail in the handbook, the document that Lib started with.
Thanks.
Let me also say that though it is the prerogative of the CPM to add some additional requirements for particular candidates. I mean, we could say to someone, you need to take another unit of CPE. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's clinical pastoral education. We are saying that you need this, or we could say you need to be working with a spiritual director, and we require this. I mean, we have the prerogative, based on that particular person's progress,
There might be very special occasions. I was liaison for someone who had, he was ordained in the CPA, and he didn't quite, we asked him to take a couple of different courses to, you know, because of, it was a different background, so it can have a special tailored package for someone. There can be some exceptions occasionally.
Yes, you said CPA, but I think you meant the PCA because we would
I'm,
take
I meant PC. I
because
meant,
the
sorry.
CPAs
Yeah, I meant,
we would probably welcome some
I'm
former
sorry. I'm sorry.
CPAs who want to be.
I'm sorry. Of course, I meant
We
PCA.
would
Thank you
probably,
very
and I bet every church on the face of the planet would wish that their pastor had was a CPA.
We 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 recently have a candidate who's been ordained who has a financial background, and that person
Yes,
works very well at the church she works with.
yes. Anybody else on this?
Um,
Okay.
I did have one thing.
Yes, Matt.
So I suppose it's because it's a commission and not a committee. That you say, well, we could recommend or strongly encourage that they do a unit of CPE. Um, I mean, I suppose my question would be, is there anything that would stop us from all of the inquirers and candidates that come through saying, hey, we really recommend you all do CPE, like, and I mean, or an extra unit of CPE. Does that make sense? My question.
Well, we do encourage them to do that. I
Right.
mean, so that's one of their, I
Okay.
mean, that's been added. I mean, because,
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit of history, because so many of our candidates and inquirers are, what used to be called non-traditional. I mean, in the sense that they are working and, you know, that kind of thing. Um, CPE was hard to schedule for folks, but we feel it's so valuable that now we have these supervised ministries in the parish and non-parish settings, and we strongly encourage CPE. Um, but I mean, I would say to your question, I'd say it's unlikely that we would do that to everybody. But I mean, just in my history of whatever since 1979 serving on this commission, I mean, time and again there have been people that we've added requirements to just because we feel they need more before they're equipped to be ministers of word and sacraments. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. hmm Anybody else? Okay. Well, when the time comes and there is the completion of all of the ordination exams, then the satisfactory completion of them, I might add, the and the person has met all of these other requirements that are here, like taking all these various trainings and that kind of thing, then it comes time for the final assessment. And you'll see this on page 9. That is, once they have done this final assessment, they write a personal reflection on each one of the ordination vows. And when they do that, I'll just say, face this, make sure that they write their reflection on all of them, because in the book of order, when you go to it, the last one, which is the specific one for ministers of word and sacrament, is on a separate page. And I just recently we had somebody come, and when I went over ahead of time looking over there, and I saw that the person had just missed that, even though it's clear that they should have seen it. But so just look over and make sure that they've answered all of them. And so they write a reflection, and then that really becomes the basis of the final assessment. And then once they have gone through the final assessment, then they have been certified as ready to receive a call. They can fill out their personal discernment profile, their PDP, and they can then enter into any conversations with churches. And Jan's mentioned a little bit about how that works, and there's candidate checks and that kind of thing, because the person might be receiving a call in this presbytery or in another presbytery. So I don't know, Jan, do you want to add anything to how that works at this particular point?
I'll be honest with you, most people who are under care with us want to stay in the Charlotte area. So sometimes toward the end of that the final parts of this process, I'll have coffee with them, or they'll ask me to get together and just let them know what is available. We're going to talk with Amanda Shanks tonight. I've done that with Amanda, what's available in this presbytery. A lot of our folks, especially those who go to Union, like the fact that they can do a lot of things online because they're tethered to this area because of a spouse's job or whatever. So yeah, that's basically it. I would really encourage people, though. It's natural to want to stay close to home or whatever, but I can give you examples offline of people who really wanted to stay in Charlotte because they were comfortable here and knew people here and so forth. And lo and behold, God called them to Mississippi, and they are very happy, and that's what happened. So the hope is that the Holy Spirit calls us, and sometimes to places we don't necessarily choose as our first choice to go. Um, that's what I'll say about that.
That's right. And it's a blessing to live at various places in the country, isn't it? It really is. Okay, then we get to the ordination. And so if you just read, we almost at 6 o'clock. So the examination takes place for when someone is ready to receive a call. We carry that out in the CPM, the examination. In some presbyteries, it might be the COM. Here it's the CPM. And we spend the first hour, they prepare a sermon and a worship service and do that. And then in the second hour, the liaison leads the questioning. And again, we're going to be looking at this. If you go into the resource packet, you will see questions that can be asked in the various areas. Now, they've already passed their ordination exams, but we still ask them questions in all of the various areas of the exam. I mean, like Bible exegesis, theology, worship and sacraments, polity. We ask them questions that hopefully have some connection to whatever ministry they're being called to, so that it's not just kind of out of the blue. But and it's just it's awesome at that particular point, wondrous, because we've walked this path alongside them all of this time, and now they're coming to the place where they have those credentials, if you will, then to be ordained. If they are being ordained here in this presbytery, then that's pretty much it, except for the service of ordination. And they can be ordained in their home church or in the church that's calling them, if it's in Charlotte Presbytery. If they're being ordained in are called to another presbytery, then that presbytery has their process, and they will have to do whatever that presbytery says is their process. I mean, I have a particular candidate who knows she has one more exam to take, but she knows that this particular church in another presbytery is going to call her. I mean, it's a done deal already, just because of those circumstances, and she's already working on the staff there. And she is actually going to be ordained in that presbytery. And so she, she knows that she'll have to do everything the way that Providence Presbytery does it. So it's, that's her desire. And so, and the church's great desire to call her as one of their associate pastors. So she's good. So And so if they are called to this presbytery, they will um, stand before presbytery as well. And the COM will also be a part of that because they will have to approve the terms of call, the very specifics of that call, like the two that we've already mentioned, Shay and Perrin, are being ordained here, and so this presbytery approves their terms of call. Yeah. So any questions here? And there's more in these documents. I just encourage you, like we encourage our students, to read it and take it into yourself, and keep your book of order and these two documents on your desk at all times, because you never know when you might. Don't file it away somewhere like place where you can't find it, because you never know when somebody might be asking you. Yes, Lisa.
I just checked with our stated clerk, and we do have copies of the Book of Order, the new Book of Order, for anyone who needs them. And so I will have them available when you're meeting at the Presbytery office in February. So you don't need to order one. And the other thing I want to say is for you new folks, this is a lot. And just, look through the documents at your leisure. But you're going to learn so much, but just by the interviewing people. And your first time interviewing people, you don't have to even ask a question. Just be a part of it and just understand what's going on. It'll all come together in not too long.
Yes.
Let me ask.
Anybody want? Yeah.
Yeah, just another quick question. And you may have already said this, and if you have, forgive me, but you said that the folders, the files are available to see anytime you come to Presbytery. Do you have to make an appointment or something like that?
Just because of our limited hours, just let me know when you'd like to come, and Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and I think I can work it out for you.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right.
I do have a quick question about the fake statement, and only because I've been ordained 20 years, but the fake statement was also something that the subgroup actually worked with the candidates on, only because sometimes I'm a persnickety person about language. And sometimes the choice of words in these fake statements it can be really cringy, but you don't really know how to address it. I don't know if that is still part of the process.
Well, my suggestion, it's not a part of the process in terms of working with the whole subgroup or the whole commission, but I would suggest that when your particular candidate for whom you are a liaison, that when that's coming up, that you offer yourself, or suggest that they run it by you before they send it in to Lisa, even. I mean, so that you can look for something. We have a statement in the process letter about language.
Okay.
And I would think that in seminary, most people would have dealt with that, but you never know. Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. So those of you who are in group 2, you understand that the link is a different link than this one, right? For you to go into your meeting at 6:30. And then there's a different link for all of us at 7:30. Okay. All right. We will see you at 7. Yes, Leah? Oh, she's just saying goodbye. All right. All right. See you later. Take care.